Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I hope you've had a lovely weekend. So in today's video, of course, I'm going to be discussing the Markle family interview. So I'm going to give my thoughts on this. And as you know, being a qualified therapist and trained life coach, I am able to kind of look between the lines, look at perhaps things that you might not notice. And so I bring those here in the hope that it will help you, perhaps with something in your life that you might be going through. And also to understand human nature. So if you want to join me in this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy it and you don't want to miss future uploads. And that being said, for those of you who've been with me for a while now, you know what to do. Grab your drink of choice. The glass is wonky. Whether it be tea, whether it be coffee, or whether you're like me and so many of you are buying the cherries and berries, or whether you would like a latte or a cappuccino in the mornings. Well, actually, no, it's afternoon here now. So, but as I always say, in the world, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. So if you want to add a little something to that drink of choice, then please do. And with that being said, let's dive right in. So I haven't kept an eye on this as much as what I would normally do because it's bank holiday weekend here and I've had family here. But I will say that I did expect to read that there was going to be some backlash from this. And of course, the media doesn't disappoint, does it? Because of course we have to have that. For example, where they've picked up on a couple of posts that someone on Twitter has posted saying that they had to turn it off. They were disgusted with the interview, and somehow that's made a headline, rather than probably the thousands and thousands, maybe even millions of positive reviews that it's potentially got in people understanding why the Markle family have spoken out. Now, I fully support the Markle family in making their own choice and doing what they want to do. You know, this isn't a normal situation. You know, for the most part, if we have grievances, we don't necessarily speak about it publicly. However, I'm a bit mixed about this because as much as I completely support someone's choice, freedom to choose, I don't necessarily always think it's the right course of action. And I appreciate that this might come with some negative response here. And that's okay, because you are, again, absolutely allowed to disagree with me. I completely understand why they feel the need to do this. They, like I've said before in many videos, I feel that they have been fed to the wolves. This family went from being nobodies, because even when she was in Suits, nobody wrote about the family, to suddenly she's marrying the Prince of the UK and the family suddenly gets thrust into the media spotlight. There was no protection. There was, and it was kind of fairly quiet until he didn't turn up for the wedding. And that obviously, as we know, was because the poor man was in hospital after having, I think, not one, but 2 heart attacks. And so there was all this speculation. Now, bearing in mind that Meghan and Harry have no problem putting a statement out when it affects them. Like we've had just recently, where she's like, I'm here just sitting, you know, getting on with my life, and I don't want to discuss, you know, correspondence that happened like 4 years ago. Quite happy to put out a statement there. But where was the statement which said, could you please leave my family alone? Just because I am marrying a Prince of the UK does not give you the right to go after my family. Where was that? Because if there was one, can anyone send it to me? Because I don't think there was. So they literally were left helpless in a sense, where the media descended upon them. Everything about them was brought up. They were called trailer trash. They were attacked for how they looked. They were attacked for how they lived. You know, if he was seen carrying a crate of beer, he was attacked for being an alcoholic or something along those lines, which I thought was absolutely abhorrent and disgusting. And not one iota of a defence from Harry or Meghan. Nothing. They just went on their merry way doing whatever they were doing and literally left this family to manage what was happening. So, of course, around that time, when it was coming up to the wedding, Thomas wanted his daughter to be proud of him. So he thought, well, the best thing to do would be to, and obviously a journalist contacted him and said, oh, you know, we can do this for you. We can create this change in your image and we can do it in such a way that makes it look really good. Not realising the poor man was being set up. And I have thoughts on this anyway, because I do believe that this was intentional from her part. So, of course, then it became, oh, you know, my father's in the media talking about me. And she was quite happy to put out these statements attacking the family, condemning them, but nothing to support them. You know, this is my dad, you know, leave him alone. He's got health conditions. This is really dangerous. The stress could really affect him, etc. Which, it did. So for that part, I completely understand why the family are so fed up with the way they've been depicted in the media and why they want to give their version of events. I understand that. However, do I feel that it's the right thing to do? In a sense for them, not necessarily, because of course what's happening now is the haters, you know, all come out and attack the family again, and it had kind of gone quiet. And a lot of this is about your own mental health. It's like, you know, you look at this from the example of, say, for us, now we're not in the public eye, all right, I do YouTube, etc. But for the most of us, this is the equivalent of you having a falling out with your family, and your family deciding to go all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever, to talk about it. Now, I'm not saying that from Meghan's perspective, because quite frankly, I think she deserves exactly what she gets. But when you have this, say if you're the family that wants to defend themselves, you then run the risk of being attacked. And that can affect you very massively. As someone, as I've said before, who's been on the receiving end of doxing and bullying, it's pretty horrendous when it escalates. And at points you feel that it's never going to end, it's never going to stop. So you have to protect yourself in a way. And for me, the best thing to do was come off any platforms that I felt I didn't need to be on, as in Twitter, and then lock everything down, so to speak, and in a sense almost like protect yourself in a bubble, and then ignore it. Don't look at it. Don't, you know, when people are sending you things, I had to say, don't send me anything. I don't want to know anymore. Because every time I read something, you know, I would feel upset, because it's kind of, this is not who I am. And over time, it dissipates. You still get the odd thing. I still get the odd thing. But I don't care. I don't care. These people don't matter to me. What matters to me is the people in my life that I care and love about, and also the people on the channel that have supported me from the beginning. So with Samantha and her dad and her brother, I think, as much as I understand it, I think for their own well-being, we all know, the thing is, for the people that know and understand the type of personality Meghan Markle is, everything that they said, we kind of knew anyway. And I think the problem with that is a bit like when people were watching the Netflix series, people were wanting bombshells. People were wanting something that would blow something out of the water, whether it be to do with how many times she's been married, or how many, you know, was she pregnant before? Does she have another daughter somewhere? You know, all the things that have been coming out. You know, I believe people wanted to have something, because in the comments what I'm seeing is, well, it was nothing new, no bombshells, it was a waste of time. And I think that's the problem when you have this type of thing, is people want sensationalism, they want drama, they want something that people can go, oh, I knew it, I knew I was right, bring the receipts, and that's unfortunately, that's the nature of the way we live in society today. So, of course, what they've done is they've come on and done an interview where they've just talked about their feelings. Samantha was a little bit more forthright, I would say. And I think and I will say this, she comes across very, very well. She's very articulate, intelligent. You can absolutely tell she knows what she's talking about. So I think that was revealing to me, that she kind of come on and said some of the things that she said in regards to Harry and Meghan's relationship. It's very toxic, which we all know, but to have her say it, I think was quite revealing. It felt to me that she wasn't afraid to say, I'm going to kind of say what I want, and I'm not afraid of that, or what she will do, because it is what it is. And she's obviously, like me, she's trained in a field, so she kind of knows. Like for me, when I talk about it, I feel I'm confident to talk about it because of the experience that I've had professionally. It broke my heart to listen to Thomas Markle Sr., because that poor man is still wanting to rectify the relationship with his daughter. And I think because of that, that is why we are never going to have any big reveals, I think, from him, unless he gets to a point where he feels like, well, enough's enough now, which I just don't think he will, because he's so wanting his daughter back. And I feel like it's this sort of blind denial of who she is as a person, that he just refuses, or just doesn't want to see that she used him. She used him while he had money. She used him for his connections. She used him to get kind of on that first rung of the ladder, so to speak. And she still needed him. Even when she was very early on in Suits, she still needed him. That's why she had the relationship with him. And he just cannot see, that as soon as she got herself into a position where she felt that this was the cream of the crop, so to speak, he was discarded. And if anyone knows anything about narcissistic personality types, once they discard you, it is like you are dead to them. It really is. It's and this is why when I talk about Harry and Meghan, when I say, people say, oh, is he being discarded? No, because discard isn't a phase. Discard is an action. It's, we're done. That's not to say that you can be devalued. You can be let go in devalue stage. But they will always keep you on the side. So they'll still drop in. They'll still be like, oh, just checking in on how you are. I miss you. They will still do the hoovering. It kind of all encompasses together. So it's kind of like, I've devalued you enough that I don't really want to be with you anymore. I don't have any respect for you. I don't love you. I mean, not that they ever really do, because they don't know how to love. But I still want you to know that I'm still around. I'm still not letting you go, because I haven't quite decided what I'm doing yet. I'm going to hedge my bets. I'm going to see what's out there. But if they don't get kind of what they want, they'll come back. Once you're discarded, that's final. That is final. And if anyone knows anything about this, they will know that, because it can be the most horrendous thing. And when they discard you, it can entirely up to them. It can be years, it could be months. It really does depend on what they're getting from you. So whilst she's been growing up with him, and I hate to say this, but he's enabled her behaviour. And I get that, because I speak to a lot of parents that have issues with children or teenagers, etc. And when you look back, and I get parents to look back, you can kind of pinpoint when it sort of starts to happen. And for various reasons, we can enable behavior. I've done it. I split from, my first husband, I've only had one. I've had loads. My husband at the time, the boys were very young, but I kind of wanted to protect them. So and I kind of made allowances for certain behaviors. So, there's an element of guilt or shame or things that come into it. So and this is normal. So I think with Thomas, I think he felt perhaps very sad or guilty about the situation with Doria. So he overcompensated and wanted to give her everything. And in a sense, there's nothing wrong with spoiling your children, but I think you've got to have a balance. If you want to give your children things, you've still got to create them to understand that not everything comes for free, that there are times when you're going to fall down. There are times when you're going to be told no, that not everything is available to you just when you click your fingers. But unfortunately, that, I believe, was the mistake that he made. He didn't create her to have boundaries or consequences for actions. If something was wrong or she did something wrong, he fixed it by probably spoiling her again, or buying, like the rumors of the hazing that happened, and he paid money, etc. Again, allegedly. And again, I understand this. I do understand this. And at the time when we're raising our children, there is no rule book. So a lot of the time we do make mistakes, and we do look back and think, gosh, I wish I'd done that differently, or I wish I'd done that better. Or I'd picked up on those things and actually given a consequence for those things, etc., etc. Anyone, you know the drill. So, of course, the problem you have now is that, so when she exhausted everything, and of course then I think Doria then come into some money. So if you look at the timeline, it's like when he was starting to struggle, he wasn't working anymore, his health was deteriorating, she hopped over to Doria. And then Doria then started taking care of her when she was a lot older and stepping in. And then she started to distance herself from her father, because at that point this was when she was in the devalue stage. Now, she hadn't discarded him at this point because she still needed him just in case. And so, of course, then what happened then was then she met Trevor. She then jumped onto that, and then she, in a sense, used Trevor. Now, a lot of people have said to me, do narcissists know what they're doing? And I would say to some degree, yes, and some degree, no, because it's very habitual. This is how they are as a person. So in a sense, it's normalized. They do it normally. Some things they are aware they're doing, but again, they don't see it as doing anything wrong. They see that you're the problem. If you speak to anybody that is with this type of personality, they will actually look at you as if you're an alien. If you do you not understand what you're doing is wrong? It's kind of like, no, they generally don't see it. And that is why you will never get someone with narcissistic personality disorder come to see a therapist unless there's an agenda. If there is something to gain from it, like they need to have something, so they need to see the therapist to then get something, then they will, but they won't come at it from a general, I want to change perspective, because they don't see anything wrong with the way they behave. If someone picks them up on something, that's a them problem. That's their fault. Nothing to do with how they behave, sorry. So, of course, then she moves on to Trevor and then utilizes Trevor. She gets suits and she gets frustrated with Trevor because Trevor won't put her in any of the films, as he's an up and coming producer or director. So she gets frustrated with him, and then she gets into Suits. Now, for the first year of Suits, I believe, she still has Trevor there in the background because she's not secure yet. She's not secure in her contract. She's not secure whether Suits is going to take her on again. And as soon as they do, she moves into devalue stage, because now it's kind of like, this is a sure thing now. I'm staying in Suits. I've got what I want. So then she moves into that. So then what she'll then be doing is she'll be looking for the next person to elevate her. And I believe then was that she started then circling the golfer. She started kind of maneuvering in those circles. And I think then it wasn't long after that, then she started to, the mole, was it the mole? Mulroney's. So she started then, it was Soho House, and that's when she met Corey. She started moving in those circles. And of course, as you know, the rest is history. And each time she does things like this, she will move into devalue stage, but will still hoover in. Like, for example, when she was married, when she was married to Harry, no, when she was dating Harry, she still had Corey in the background. And a lot of people have said to me, why do they do this? Why do they? It's because they can. Because again, we allow it. You know, if someone does that, you can only... what will happen is what you allow to happen. And so for someone like Meghan, she has such an inflated ego that she thinks she is the most gorgeous woman. She thinks she is the most talented woman. And when someone, in a sense, criticizes her or tells her no, or in a sense creates her to feel that she's not talented, she will go all out to go after them. Because it's like, how dare you? How dare you? So of course, at this point, Thomas is completely devalued and discarded. She no longer needs him. However, he wasn't discarded, devalued. So he's still there in the background. She still dips in and out because she still needs daddy. She still needs that emotional support when she wants it. So he's still there in the background because she's still not quite secure. So she has moments when she'll be very uncertain of what her future is. For example, you know, when she was coming over to the UK, and so she still needs she still needs those people in her life that validate her, like her ex-best friend, who she would see as beneath her dad beneath her. Nobody's an equal to Meghan's or a narcissistic personality type, but they need people around them to inflate their ego, narc supply, to create, you know, I love you, you know, you're doing great, well done you, and I'm supporting you. They need that. And then, of course, as we know, she meets Harry. But it's interesting for me that in 2 years they were dating, she never introduced Harry. I think they spoke on the phone, I believe, but she never introduced Harry to her father. And a lot of people don't talk about this. And the reason I think this happened is because she lied. It's quite simple. Narcissists will lie. And I believe she lied. There was a hint of it in the Thomas Bauer book where she apparently lied about Trevor. She said that he was abusive to her. That's why she had to end the relationship. And even I think Thomas said he didn't believe her. And that she would absolutely do the same with Harry. I can guarantee you that when she met him, however it was set up, and I have done videos on this, that she would have created herself to be the ultimate victim. And of course, this would have played right into Harry's rescuing personality. It would have been, my family were poor. I've had to work my way up. My family are now trading on my fame and fortune. They want money from me. And I'd imagine there's probably a couple of texts where I think Tom Bauer put in his book where Thomas had no money, and I think he wanted to. He asked Meghan to help him. And so she would keep that as receipts. See, look, I've got this evidence right here where he wanted money from me and I had to help him out. And so, of course, that would reaffirm the victim story that she's telling Harry. So Harry's there kind of going, oh, my gosh, she's been abused. She's been this, she's been that. She's a hardworking actress. You know, I'm a humanitarian. I just love people. I love women. I want to help. And, of course, this would have played right into it. So, of course, then as soon as then she secured Harry, because it took 2 years, she was still talking to her father around that time because she hadn't secured him at that point. As soon as it got secured, she moved into the further stage of devalue, and then literally up to when and I think this was all orchestrated because she needed a way to discard her father, and it had to be credible. It had to be where she wasn't going to get the blame. And so it began, and then he moved into discard phase, and well, not phase, but discard, and that's it. That's it, done. And at that minute, she made up her mind that he was no longer going to serve a purpose to her. He would ruin what she was trying to achieve here. Done. Now, the reason she kept Doria is because I think Doria is also, in my opinion, very similar personality, if not the same type of personality as Meghan. She's a grifter, and I think she was even doing that with Thomas very early on. And so she can be bought. she can be bought. And I think she was. And it was kind of like, you know, I will keep your secrets if you do this. Whereas I think Thomas is actually, I do believe he's probably a lot more integral. Samantha is. And I think they would have been, no, we're not, you know, we're not going to lie. You know, we're not going to do that. And I think she was also ashamed of the family. You know, she could utilize Doria because, no offense, but she's, you know, a black woman. She could utilize her blackness in a sense. And I do believe that was what was happening. And, you know, she created this victim, you know, narrative, walking up the aisle. I'm going to walk on my own. And then the then Prince Charles then walked to the rest of the way. That played right into that. But I also believe that she probably wanted to walk on her own the whole way, to have everyone kind of go, oh, she hasn't even got her father to walk her up the aisle. But I wonder if the royal family stepped in and said, no, we're not having that. So I think possibly something was going on. And you've only got to look at the faces of the late Queen and everyone else. None of them look happy. None of them look happy. She did. She was like the cat that got the cream, understandably. But none of them look happy. The Queen's face, you know, you look at the difference between when William and Catherine got married to, yeah, not happy at all. And I think it's because they knew that there was behind the scenes that this was not a good relationship. You know, at this point, she would have shown her true colours. So the problem you have there is that, so of course, everything that's happened since then has been, the family have just been hauled through the media and pulled apart, and you know, Thomas's health and everything else. And not once have they stepped out and said, leave the family alone. This is my father. Just stop. No. She just let them get on with it. Let them be attacked and trolled and bullied and everything. Just, you know, so I can understand why they want to do this. And I'm sorry, I know this is a long-winded, but I just kind of wanted to explain why. Do I think it was right? Personally, I think nothing's going to change. For the most of us who have a brain and can see the type of behaviour that Meghan and Harry have, you know, we can see it. We don't need to be reminded of it because we know it. We support the Markle family. We understand that this is very hard for them and it must be devastating for him. But she's never going to change. The only time she will get back in touch is exactly what Samantha said, with an agenda. She would possibly do it to, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if she did it over the coronation. Would not surprise me. She did it over the coronation, because it would be in the media. There would be an agenda, and then she would do it, and then she would discard them again. She'd find a reason to discard them again. And I think, unfortunately, the family are allowing themselves to get more trolled, more bullied in the media, and I get it, I really do, and I you know, and I have my utmost sympathy for them. But I think just move on healing. Let it go now, because it's really, really sad to see a family so affected by something and so publicly. This isn't something that just went on privately. This was so public for them. They went from being nobody to suddenly thrown into the world atmosphere, the ether, and attacked. I can't even imagine. I mean, like I say, from a small perspective, I can understand how that feels. But to have it globally like that, I think there comes a point when it becomes bullying. And I see this a lot, you know, the media pick up on things and they will talk about something. And I think, okay, fair enough. But then they will then go on and on and on and on about it. And I think for the family's sake, I really believe in my heart, the best thing for them to do is move to acceptance, of the fact that she's never coming back, not ever, genuinely, and enjoy the time that they all have as a family together. And I appreciate that Samantha's still got her court case. And thank you, by the way, for the people that gave me some more information on that, because over in the UK, it seems quite limited, and I don't have an awful lot of time to do a lot of research. So thank you for that. So she still has that, and I do understand that. And I'm guessing that she has to be very careful to some degree. But I think the family need to let this work on healing and letting this go now, because otherwise what then happens is they just get attacked. And like I say, for the most part, for the rest of us, we understand why they do it. We understand where it comes from, and we are in agreement for the most part. of why they do it and where it comes from. We see the type of personality that Meghan and Harry are, but the fan base, it doesn't matter what is said against their idol, because it is Meghan, it's not Harry, because as soon as they divorce, they will go after Harry. Nothing you can say, nothing you can say will change their narrative, because they are either of the same personality, and I include that Shola woman, same type of personality. So that's why they condone Meghan's behaviour. For some, she is the poster child of being black, and I don't agree with this because, as you know, and going up against the patriarchy and going up against the monarchy, and then for others it's the people who are against the monarchy. So in a sense, it's almost as if it's, you know, we support Harry and Meghan because they're going against the institution. So for those people, it doesn't matter what the likes of the Markle family say, because they're never going to change what they think. And the irony, which is what I've seen, is where they are attacking the Markle family for speaking out against Harry and Meghan, but yet don't say anything about the fact that Harry and Meghan have literally done exactly the same thing about them and the royal family. That they condone. Absolutely fine. So the hypocrisy is astounding, but we all know that this is how they think and behave. We know that. It literally wouldn't matter what they did, they would still be defended by some of these people. So I think for that reason, for the sake of Thomas's mental health, for the sake of all of them, really, I hope this for them, not for her, not for Harry. I hope this is the last interview, because I really feel that this, at this point now, just heal and spend the time together as a family, because, you know, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. And I do feel for them. I do feel for them. I can't, you know, like I say, I only have a fraction of kind of what it's like to be bullied and doxxed on social media, and this has been a global platform for them. So yeah, so I wanted to kind of get this in, because, as you know, over the weekend I will be going to London, and I will be hopefully interviewing some people with regards to the monarchy. A few of you have asked me to ask them about Harry and Meghan. I might, but what I will probably do is I will air that way after, in a sense, so to kind of, because as you know, I want to boycott them, and I'm really hoping they don't do too much, because I end up missing out and then it becomes old news. But I want to boycott them. It feels right to boycott them. I did it when the late Queen passed. I just won't talk about them. You know, this isn't about them. However, you know, if I have anything to talk about, I will do it after the fact. So please bear with me. And like I say, all I ask is that when I do the videos on the coronation, because so many of you say how sick and tired you are of Harry and Meghan, and I get it. Believe you me, I get it. But please, like I say, support my videos that are not about Harry and Meghan, because it's frustrating for me, because I feel like I then get segued back into talking about them. And I know that you like my opinions and my perspective, but it's nice to then have the same support when I do videos that are not about them. So when I do the videos about the coronation, please, you know, watch them, because that way it keeps me in the algorithm of YouTube. It supports my channel still. And it encourages me, in a sense, to then maybe not always want to talk about them. But yeah, so if you haven't joined my other channel, I will be changing the name, but at the moment it's called Just Therapy UK. That is for people that want any sort of help or support in regards to anything that's mental health related. It's not just therapy, it's life coaching, it's how to work on confidence, it's understanding narcissism. So go across and check that channel out. If you want the link, it is in the description box below, but it's also at the end of the these videos. You can click on the link there. If you would like to treat me to a cuppa, I would really appreciate that. It is not necessary, but it's nice when you do. So thank you for those who do support the channel by doing that and supporting what I do behind the scenes and helping people for free who struggle financially. I am going to be changing the Patreon because unfortunately I've just had an email from them, which I'm very disappointed about, where they have now told me that whenever I put a post in Patreon, I've got I should charge. I've got to charge for it in a sense. Not got to, but they say that I won't be getting any of the pledges or the funds unless I charge for the posts that I put up. Now, as anyone knows over there, I don't charge for anything that I put over there. It's always for free. Because I feel like you should be getting something for your money. Now being told that I now have to charge for them, I'm annoyed at that. I don't like it. So I'm possibly going to find if there's a way around that. If there's not, I will be shutting the Patreon down. But you will still have the option to support me here as a member. Also, I would ask anyone that's in my Patreon, please check your bank balance, because I would like to know if, because they have told me that I'm not getting any of the money. I'm a little confused by it. I've got to find out because I don't really understand it all. But I want to know if you guys have actually, I know that people have pledged. I want to know if you've actually had your money come out of your bank account. So if anyone's your Patreon, please go and check that. And if you could drop me an email, because if so, I will be looking to try and get that refunded to you, because what I've noticed is I've not received any of the money, and I didn't notice it because it was going into my PayPal, or I thought it was. Now I was checking things and I thought, hang on a minute, I've not noticed anything from Patreon, and I've checked and nothing has gone in. So I don't know where that money's gone. It's not gone to me. So when I contacted them, that's what they said to me. They said, well, you would get charged for all of your posts, but you've not clicked on that. So you're not getting any money. So I was like, well, where's the money going then? So I need to know, guys, if you are part of the Patreon, have you been charged, even though you've pledged? Has that money come out of your account? And if it has, could you please email me, send me some evidence, obviously cover up your bank details and everything else, so I can go back to them and say, these people have been charged. The money hasn't gone to me. It needs to go back to them, because I'm not having that. Thank you for all of your support. I'm really excited to be going to the coronation at the weekend. I'm really, really excited. I've got my my hat, which is my Union Jack hat. I'm super excited. But yeah, so don't forget, you can send me something at my PO box. You can buy my bubble merchandise. That's all there. All the links that you need if you want to contact me via email. All the links are in my description box below. And trust me, don't worry, if I get a response from Netflix, I will be putting that up here to let you guys know. And thank you for so many of you supported that. I will always be integral with you guys. I promise you that. That being said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. So take care. I love you. I appreciate you. But most of all, I respect you. Mwah. Bye.